Hello everyone, myself Dr. Jyoti Ganguly, Assistant Professor of Zoology, KTHM College Nasik. Students, today we are going to discuss regarding the new chapter that is circulatory disturbances and the topic that is hyperemia. So, let us discuss what is meant by hyperemia. So, hyperemia is the term which is used for increased volume of blood within the dilated vessels of an organ or either a tissue. So, the increased volume from arterial and arteriolar dilation, which is being referred or which is called as hyperemia or active hyperemia, whereas which impaired the venous congestion, or it is also called as a passive hyperemia. So, we have the two terminologies, that is active hyperemia whereas passive hyperemia. So, if the conditions develops rapidly, it is called as the acute hyperemia, whereas the conditions they are more prolonged and gradual response, then such a conditions we called as a chronic hyperemia. So, we have the two terminologies again here, the acute hyperemia or chronic hyperemia. And before that, we discussed regarding the hyperemia. In that, the terminology such as active hyperemia and passive hyperemia. But when such a hyperemia which takes place rapidly, then what we say is that acute hyperemia. And if such a hyperemia is prolonged, or again it is shows a gradual response, then in that time what we say is it is a chronic hyperemia. Now, here we can focus first on the active hyperemia. So, the active hyperemia, here the dilation of arteries, arterioles as well as capillaries, which is affected either through sympathetic neurogenic mechanism or via the release of vasoactive substances. So, the affected tissue or organ which is pink or red in appearance. So, in the condition of active hyperemia, the tissue which appears as either pink or red in coloration. So, here the examples of such a active hyperemia, they are seen in the conditions in case of inflammation, then in case of blushing, in case of again muscular exercise, whereas in case of high grade fever. So, the first, that is in case of inflammation. So, inflammation, the example that is congested vessels in the walls of alveoli in pneumonia. Suppose in case of the patient who is suffering from the disease pneumonia, in that case, here what we use the terminology that is inflammation, but what the inflammation of that is the vessels. So, what here we says the congested vessels in the walls of alveoli in case of the patient pneumonia. Now, the second example, that is blushing. So, blushing, that is flushing of the skin of face in response to emotions. So, flushing of the skin of the face in response to the emotion. This is the blushing. Now, again it is a example, it is a condition of active hyperemia. Now, the third example, that is muscular exercise. So, muscular exercise and the another one, that is high grade fever. In those conditions, the victim, the person, the patient, which shows the condition that is active hyperemia. Now, the next type of hyperemia, that is passive hyperemia, or it is also called as a venous congestion. So, the dilation of veins and capillaries due to impaired venous drainage results in passive hyperemia or venous congestion, or commonly we referred it as a chronic, commonly we referred as a congestion or such a congestion which may be either of acute type or either of chronic type. So here such a condition, that is the chronic venous congestion, we commonly called it as a CVC. So CVC is nothing but the chronic venous congestion. So here the congestion is what? Here it is a passive hyperemia, or again a venous congestion. It is due to what? The dilation of veins and the dilation of capillaries, but it is due to the impaired venous drainage. So it results into the venous congestion or congestion. So congestion has the two types, that is acute or chronic. So acute, it is a sudden condition takes place, sudden such a changes takes place in the body, in the veins, in the organs, in the tissues. Whereas the chronic congestion, it is that is a prolonged or from more days. What we say that the gradual shows the gradual response. So that is the chronic venous congestion, or we denoted it as a CVC. Now the affected tissue or organ is bluish in color due to accumulation of venous blood, or such a terminology, such a condition we say that cyanosis. Now the obstruction to the venous outflow may be local or systemic. So accordingly, venous congestion again shows the two types. So local venous congestion or the systemic venous congestion. So in case of passive hyperemia, the affected tissue or the affected organ which shows bluish in color due to the accumulation of venous blood, or what we say is that the cyanosis. Now obstruction to the venous outflow may be local or either systemic. So here accordingly, here the venous congestion shows two types, that is local venous congestion or the systemic venous congestion. So we can focus one by one. So the local venous congestion here, which results from obstruction to the venous outflow from an organ or part of the body. Suppose the example, that is portal venous obstructions in case of the cirrhosis of liver. Then outside pressure on the vessels of the wall occurs in tight bandage, then plasters, tumors, pregnancy, or again intraluminal occlusions by means of the thrombosis. Thrombosis, it is nothing but the clotting of blood. So here the local venous congestion which takes place, or what it is meant by the obstruction to the venous outflow from an organ to the part of body, to other part of the body. So here the example, so the obstruction of venous or outflow of such a blood which takes place from organ to the other part of body, and here the example which can cause, that is the cirrhosis of liver. Then outside of pressure which is on the vessel wall, suppose in case of tight bandage, if the patient have the tight bandage, that time also the patient which suffers from the condition, that is local venous congestion. After that again in case of plasters, in case of again he says that accidental conditions, that time doctor apply the plaster to patient either on hand, leg and other body parts. So in that case also the local venous congestion takes place. Now in case of tumors, different type of tumors are there. Such a tumors, if they increase in size, that time they exert pressure. So the tumors, then pregnancy or intraluminal occlusion by a process of thrombosis. Thrombosis, it is nothing but the clotting of blood. Now the second type of congestion is the systemic or we commonly called as a general venous congestion. So it is a engorgement of systemic veins. Example, in left-sided and right-sided heart failure and diseases of the lungs which interfere with pulmonary blood flow like pulmonary fibrosis. Now here usually the fluid accumulates upstream to the specific chamber of the heart which is initially affected. So here systemic venous congestion, which is what the engorgement of systemic veins, particularly either right-sided or left-sided heart failure. In that condition, here the diseases in that condition, the other organs they get affected. The organs such as the diseases of the lungs which interfere with the pulmonary blood flow like pulmonary fibrosis. Now, usually the fluid accumulates upstream to the specific chamber of heart which is initially affected. So, for example, suppose in left-sided heart failure, here the pulmonary congestion results. So, pulmonary congestion takes place when the left-sided heart gets failure. So, this causes the pulmonary congestion, whereas in case of right-sided heart failure, in that case the systemic venous congestion takes place. Now, so here you can also see in this diagram. So here you can see heart, if the heart is failure due to the hyperemia, due to the venous congestion, due to the passive hyperemia. So here suppose the left-sided heart which get failed or failure. So here you can see the due to the back pressure, okay, the other organ which get affected that is the CVC of lung, that is chronic venous congestion of the lungs. In case of the heart failure of right-sided, so right-sided heart failure which can cause back pressure, here what we say is that the systemic venous congestion. So here the examples of systemic venous congestion, or again we commonly called it as a general venous congestion. So here the target organs such as the chronic venous congestion of the liver, then CVC of spleen, then CVC of kidney, or either congested leg veins. So these are some organs they get targeted due to the right-sided heart failure, and here you can see the CVC of lung when the left-sided heart which get failure. Now, before that, okay, after that, the morphology of the CVC, that is chronic venous congestion of organs. So here you can see CVC of lung, CVC of liver, spleen, kidney and other congested leg veins takes place. So here we are going to study the morphology of CVC of such organs. Now in case of CVC of lung, where the CVC of lung, here the chronic venous congestion of lung occurs in left heart failure. So especially in rheumatic mitral stenosis, so that there is rise in pulmonary venous pressure. So due to the increase in pulmonary venous pressure, it can affect, or what we say is that it exerts pressure to the veins of such a lungs, and such a lungs they get in failure, or which shows the chronic venous congestion of lungs. So that is prolonged pressure, or not what we say that not the acute pressure, but from so many time, longer period of time, the pressure which is exerted. So this is the CVC of lung. So here you can see histologically the CVC of lung. So histological section of lung which get affected or which shows here, you can see on this diagram the heart failure cells. And here you can see the thickened alveolar septa. The alveolar septa which get thickened due to the chronic venous congestion. And here you can see the heart failure cells. Now here histologically the alveolar septa are widened due to the presence of interstitial edema as well as due to the dilated and congested capillaries. Now the septa are middle thickened due to slight increase in fibrous connective tissue. So here you can see the septa which get thickened due to the slight increase in the fibrous connective tissue. Now the rupture of dilated and congested capillaries may result in the minute intra-alveolar hemorrhage. So here the rupture of dilated and congested capillaries which may result in the minute intra-alveolar So in between alveolar hemorrhages. So in between the alveolar cells the blood loss takes place. Hemorrhage which is nothing but the blood loss. So acute blood loss, it is nothing but the hemorrhage. So in the alveolar cells such a hemorrhage takes place or the blood loss takes place. So the breakdown of erythrocytes liberates hemosiderin pigment which is taken up by alveolar macrophages. So it is called as a heart failure cells. Here you can see the breakage of the erythrocytes. Breakage of the erythrocyte which liberates the hemosiderin pigment. So due to the breakage of such a erythrocytes RBCs which liberates a hemosiderin pigment which is taken up by alveolar macrophages, and here what we say is that the heart failure cells. So such a cells we called as a heart failure cells because such a pigments, hemosiderin pigments, they get ingested by the macrophages of the alveolar cells, and now such a cells we say that the heart failure cells. Here the brown okay, so here you can see the coloration histologically which stays brown in color. Such a cell they shows the brown coloration. Now this is what about the CVC of lung. Now the next organ is the CVC of liver. So here the chronic venous congestion of the liver occurs in right heart and sometimes or right heart failure and sometimes due to occlusion of inferior vena cava as well as hepatic vein. Occlusion, accumulation of inferior vena cava and hepatic vein. So the CVC, that is chronic venous congestion of liver, it occurs due to the right sided heart which get failure. So or sometimes such a CVC of liver which takes place when due to the occlusion of inferior vena cava of heart as well as hepatic portal vein, which hepatic, you know the hepatic portal vein. So hepatic portal vein which is connected to the liver and heart. So here you can see the histological appearance of the CVC of liver. So CVC of liver which shows the changes of congestion in the centrilobular zone. Here you can see this is the central zone, and here lobular structures they are found, and that's why we say that the centrilobular zone. This is the central zone. Here you can see this is the peripheral zone. This is the peripheral zone and central zone is the central zone or centrilobular zone. Peripheral zone is the surrounding zone is the peripheral zone, or what we say is that the fatty change. Here you can see the portal tract. So this comes in the histological section of the liver. So here the centrilobular zone, which is shows due to severe hypoxia than in the peripheral zone. So here you can see in case of CVC of liver, which shows the central lobular zone, or such a central lobular zone, it is due to the severe hypoxia, which is present at the central region as compared to the surrounding region as compared to the peripheral zone. So the central veins as well as the adjacent sinusoids are distended. They get dilated and filled with the blood. So here the central veins and adjacent sinusoids are distended or they get dilated, and such a dilated veins or sinusoids, they get filled with the blood. So the centrilobular hepatocytes undergo degenerative changes. So the centrilobular cells, they undergo a process of degeneration, or they shows the degenerative changes. Why? Because they get dilated and such a cells they get filled with the blood, and due to this reason they undergo a process of degeneration or shows the degenerative condition. So such a condition, what we say is that the centrilobular hemorrhagic necrosis. So such a condition, such a central cells, they get dilated along with the sinusoids and they get filled with the blood, and now here the degeneration of such a cells takes place, and now such a condition, what we say is that the centrilobular hemorrhagic necrosis. So which may be seen at the central region, which may be seen in the CVC of the liver in the histological section. Now long-standing cases may be shown fine centrilobular fibrosis and regeneration of hepatocytes, which resulting in cardiac cirrhosis. Here the peripheral zone of the lobules is less severely affected. So here you can see the peripheral zone of the liver cell, which is less affected, and due to the chronic hypoxia, and shows some fatty changes in the hepatocytes. So here you can see what is happen in case of CVC of liver. Here you can see the central of the cells, lobulated cells, they get dilated, they get filled with the blood, and they undergo a process of that degeneration. Or here the peripheral cells, instead of degeneration, here they shows the changes in their chemical structure, or what we say is that the fatty changes. So the peripheral zone, peripheral cells, hepatic cells, they shows the fatty changes. So this is what about the CVC of liver. Now the next organ is the spleen. So CVC of spleen, that is chronic venous congestion of the spleen. So here the chronic venous congestion of the spleen, which occurs in right heart failure and in portal hypertension from cirrhosis of liver. So here two conditions are there in case of CVC of spleen, where when the right sided heart which get failure, and the second condition, that is from the cirrhosis of liver. In both conditions the CVC of spleen takes place. Now here you can see the histological section, or microscopically here the red pulp shows. Here you can see again the cells, gamma Gandy bodies. Here you can see these are what the larger bodies are nothing but the Gamma-Gandy bodies, and here you can see thickened capsule of the trabeculae. Such a regions they get thickened, or the trabeculae they get thickened. And here you can see these small cells, congested and dilated sinuses. So here microscopically, here the red pulp shows congestion and marked sinusoidal dilation with areas of recent and old hemorrhages. So these hemorrhage it is nothing but what the acute blood loss. So these hemorrhages may get organized and form Gamma-Gandy bodies. So here due to the hemorrhage, due to the acute blood loss in the spleen, in the cells of spleen, such a Gamma-Gandy bodies they get formed. Or again what we say is that the siderofibrotic nodules. The bodies such as Gamma-Gandy bodies are such as siderofibrotic nodules which are deposited deposits of the hemosiderin pigment and calcium salts on fibrous connective tissue and elastic fibers. So here due to the hemorrhage, such a Gamma-Gandy bodies or such a siderofibrotic nodules they get formed, or they get deposits, such a cells they deposit or they are deposits of hemosiderin pigment and calcium salts on fibrous connective tissue or either elastic fibers. So now the reticulin network as well as fibrous trabeculae they get thickened. Now here you can see the thickened capsule. Such a trabeculae they get thickened. Before that what happens? Due to the blood loss, due to the hemorrhage, such a bodies are formed. The second condition here, such a reticular structure, such a net-like structure, such a meshwork-like structure. Here what we say is that the trabeculae, such a trabeculae they get thickened. Now in the late stage, there is hyperplasia of macrophages and fibroblast, resulting in increase in fibrous tissue of the capsule and hyperplasia of red pulp, all of which account for firmness of the spleen. So ultimately here in the late stage of the CVC of spleen, in the late stage here the hyperplasia which is the result of such a CVC of spleen. So in the advanced stage, again in the advanced stage of such a CVC of spleen, which is seen more commonly in hepatic cirrhosis. Now here I am going to take you the example, that is again the cirrhosis of liver. Along with that again the cirrhosis of, here you can see the cirrhosis of liver. So the hepatic cirrhosis. So in the third stage of CVC of spleen, it shows the cirrhosis of the hepatic cells or the cirrhosis of the liver, or such a condition commonly we called as a congestive splenomegaly. Congestive splenomegaly, spleen which get increased in size, that is splenomegaly. So in the third stage what happens? The spleen which get increased in size, or the condition that is the congestive splenomegaly. So and such a condition is commonest cause of hyperplasia, it is an example of hyperplasia or again hyperplanism. So in the first stage what happens? Such a gamma bodies they get formed. Along with gamma bodies, here siderofibrotic nodules they are formed, or they are the product of the deposits of the hemosiderin pigments and calcium salts on the fibrous connective tissue. This is the first stage. In the second stage, here hyperplasia takes place, and in the third stage, ultimately the cirrhosis of hepatic or the cirrhosis of the liver takes place, and the stage that is the congestive splenomegaly. So the spleen which get increased in size due to the chronic venous congestion, of the spleen. So this is what about the CVC of spleen. Now the last, that is CVC of kidney. So here the CVC of kidney, here the kidney are again, they get enlarged in size and its medulla, it get congested. So histologically it shows the changes, or it shows the mild changes. Now the tubules may show degenerative changes like cloudy swelling and fatty change. Now the glomeruli which shows the mesangial proliferation. So the glomeruli which shows proliferation, the cells of the glomeruli or the glomeruli which shows increase proliferation, that is increase in its size. So this is what about the first topic of the this chapter, that is active hyperemia, or what we say that collectively we say that the hyperemia. In that I'm discussing you the active hyperemia, passive hyperemia, then the morphology of CVC of organs such as lungs, such as liver, such as spleen, as well as kidney. Okay, in next lecture we discuss on the new topic of this chapter, that is hemorrhage. So what is meant by hemorrhage and causes, different causes and effects of hemorrhage. Thank you so much.